Right, here we are with another video. Oh boy, intros are stupid. Anyways, as you probably know, or maybe you don't, Benchmade has been kind of teasing at a new knife drop and just announced their next butterfly knife, the Benchmade 87. If you've been paying attention, you'll know that there's a lot of strong feelings going around with this one. You basically have two main sides to it. One side being, oh look, they kind of finally listened. They made it sort of what we wanted. I mean, this isn't the 6X series. That was just insulting. And the other side is like, how can you even justify charging that much for it? And that side is because the current price that they have set for it is $600. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Now, one of the arguments for this price is like, hey, you guys want all these nice features, you want something new, unique. Titanium is not easy to mill. It costs a lot of money to mill. It's an expensive material. This is good blade steel, and I'll go over the specs in a bit. But regardless of all those things, a production knife of this production knife has no reason to cost that much. There are a couple other arguments about the price. One of them being, you look at Benchmade's website, the Benchmade 51 is $300. Then you go to Blade HQ or Knife Center, and the Benchmade 51 is like $250 or $200. So the current estimate being thrown around is that this one's going to go for $470. Well, that's still a lot. Even if they mark it down that much, which is a very large amount. I mean, I see people are saying like 80% about-ish. That's a big difference when you're talking about $600. So my guess is that it would probably go for closer to $500 on a third-party website, but still, that is too much if you ask me. Because you look at what these valleys are used for, what this one is supposedly built for, which is flipping. Who wants to flip a knife that's that expensive, that if you, you're gonna scrape it up, you're gonna drop it, it's gonna get damaged. Flipping something that expensive, that's just, it won't be your main flipper, which sucks because it's supposed to be, their best, which I'll go over why I think that's not the case in a moment here. I get that some people have a lot of money. They're like, oh yeah, I flipped the Tachyon 3 prototype, that was $1,000. That one's $1,000. Why didn't you guys make this big a deal about that? And I feel like we kind of did. I wasn't super around. I was just getting into the scene around the Tachyon 3 prototype time. But that's too much. I never, saw myself getting that one. And now that they fucking went into aluminum, I'll rant about the Tachyon 3 later in another video. Anyways, back to the 87. $600 or $470 or whatever you want to say. It's just too much. You have companies like Blade Runner Systems, well, specifically Blade Runner Systems, who are bringing you flippers that are tested. We know for a fact that a Blade Runner Systems ballast song is going to flip well. I don't know if this Benchmade one is going to flip well at all, because you look at the 6X, what the hell were they thinking? That thing's like 6.5 ounces. You could lift with that. It's ridiculous. And then the Benchmade 51, which I do actually like the Benchmade 51, so I'm not going to go off on that one, but it was a little bit weird to have such a light one. I love the Benchmade 51 because of how moddable it is, how much potential the Benchmade 51 has in it, which is why it's actually one of my favorite production ballast songs. not the topic for this video. Hey. What? Oh yeah. Sorry about that. Molly, come on. Oh, awesome. See ya. Friendly neighborhood person. Anyways, back to the Benchmade 87. I can get my thoughts straight. Molly. Anyways, so for the 87, I think the handle shape is very. Sorry, I gotta reclaim my thoughts. That was a bit scrambly there. I think that the Benchmade 87 has some really awful handles, and I think they look alright, although they do look a lot like a Baron Son knife, which is kind of funny to me. Like, your $600 knife looks a lot like a cheapo shit knife. Not to bash on Baron Son too much. I think it's great that they're going and trying to make an affordable, decent Valley, even if they're not good. Anyways, the reason I say that the Benchmade handles are awful is because they've got this kind of double, triple hourglass thing going on. And if you recall, one of the knives that I made, this summer I made 5 knives, messing around with different handle shapes. That double, triple hourglass shape was the worst one for flipping. It's just super hard to flip with. I mean, it doesn't make the knife unflippable. It's still a very decently flippable knife, but it was definitely the worst out of all the shapes that I'd tried. So I think it's just weird that they would put that shape on. And like, why would you mill out the outside edges of the channel? That kind of defeats the whole reason for it being channel, right? Like, it's supposed to be a channel so that there's no gap here, like on a sandwich, but then they go and they mill it out so there are only like a couple connector pieces. What the hell are they thinking? That's what I say. Don't really want to run into people again, so I'm gonna just walk through the woods now. What were they thinking? Nuts. The blade, I'm sure there will be alternate blades because it's called the 87. I know we only have like the 51. I think, were there other 51, 55X shapes? I don't know. But I would assume that they're going to be doing different shapes for this knife. But the problem is that the current shape is not liked by very many people. Personally, I really, really like how it looks. But I also have kind of a weird sense of design. I really like the blade, not a fan of the handles. I like Warncliffe, which is like I guess it's, what do you call those little things? Those little razor blades. It's like a razor blade. There you go. Ow. Holly. Okay, let me check my sheet. Yeah, I made a little script today. Very in-depth. Oh yeah, up by the pivots on the handles. On top of it being a double, triple hourglass shape, it's got this weird bump right here, right next to where the Zen pins would be, although it is a tang pin. But it's got a weird bump right here, right where you're going to be doing chaplains. So I just think that chaplains are not going to be like feasible on this one. It's just astounding to me. Like, how could you mess it up that badly? But whatever. I mean, there's really no way to tell how exactly it will flip until, you know, people have handled it. But personally, I'm liking the 6-inch handles on this. I know that's not really standard yet, so hopefully someday 6 inches will be standard handle length for a good flipper. But 5.5, that's definitely, I was trying to do a little symbol, but my hand is very cold. 5.5 inches is exactly what you want to see. A channel is exactly what you want to see. The milled out edges of the channel is exactly what you don't want to see. The weird shape for flipping is exactly what you don't want to see. And now we are to the pivot system. It's run on bearings. No word on whether or not it has bushings. If it doesn't have bushings, that's kind of silly. Especially for a knife that expensive. Look at this broken bench. Woo. Anyways, kind of silly. But bearing systems on a balisong can really be hit or miss. Back to like a Chaplin. If you have a super rolly, it just wants to roll away even like on flat, essentially, pivot system, it makes Chaplins actually harder because it just wants to fly off your finger. And it doesn't look like they have any, I guess I would call these horns or something here. So that's not going to help. It's just like the bearing system, it might be really good. It might be really, really, really bad. So again, there's no way to really know until, we know, until some reputable people have handled it. Let's talk about the price one more time. Right before they mentioned the price, they said the first showing will be at SHOT Show 2017, MSRP $600. So it's possible that they're doing like, if you happen to be at SHOT Show and you can get one of these, then we're doing kind of a higher price point, because they're like limited edition, first release kind of thing. But who knows? They might not even sell them at SHOT Show. Just know that they're going to be showing them off. The latch. This one is funny. They're doing a magnetic latch system. Woo! Which is hilarious to me because a couple months ago I drew up an idea for how a magnetic latch system might work, because I was trying to figure out, how do you keep the latch out of the way without the spring system, which Benchmade patented with the 42 and never used again. Seriously, what the hell? Just put the latch that everybody loves, put that back on. They haven't actually shown us the latch. They've just said it's a magnetic latch system, but I'll show you. My hand's pretty cold. My kind of idea how mine would work is, say this is your back spacer, then you've got a magnet jammed up in there, and then pulls this part up. That also, I don't know, I just feel like that's a possibility. Kind of a bad drawing. I feel like that arm on the top would be longer. Okay, let's see. Blade steel is CPM S30V. Very good blade steel. Titanium handles. Thank you for having titanium handles, but why didn't you bring back the 42? I know this is like beating a dead horse that's been dead for a decade, essentially. But we liked the 42. I know you can't bring it back for its original price point because it was it was a titanium price skyrocketed, which is part of the reason it was discontinued. But we're looking at this. I would way rather have a Benchmade 42, just the same thing, sold again for $300 or $400, which is totally doable. And it's ridiculous to think that Benchmade couldn't do that. They totally could. And I don't know what is wrong with them. Why would they? Do they have some sort of idea oh, we canceled it, we can't ever bring it back because some bullshit? That's stupid. That's not how things should work. I like how Blade Runner Systems runs. They haven't canceled. They haven't taken anything off the table. So bring back the 42. I would love to have a 42, but I don't want to get some used one that I'm probably not even going to want to use that much because I'd be afraid of damaging it. Kind of like if I had a $600 knife I wouldn't want to worry about damaging it, you know? So I just wouldn't flip it that much. It's ridiculous. Back to my sheet. It's 5.37 ounces, which is definitely on the heavy side. It's actually quite a bit heavier than I would be happy with. I think 5 ounces is pretty good. But you know what? That's definitely not unflippable. I mean, 5.37 is definitely acceptable. But you don't want acceptable with a $600 knife. Let's see if we got anything else. You know, that's pretty much it. It looks bulky. Looks weird. I kind of do like it overall, but sort of, I don't know. It's weird. I guess I'll talk about just Benchmade as a company now. You had the Benchmade 42, which, sorry if my hand keeps going up into the camera. Benchmade 42, iconic balisong. Everybody, you know, has dreamt of having one. They're the iconic original flipper, essentially. So Benchmade has that kind of legacy so far. But then they go and release the 32 and the 51, which are too small and too light for flipping. But, you know, they're okay. Then they release the 6X series, which is too expensive and far too heavy. And they've just completely ditched their iconic latch system, which they patented. I'm still angry about that. And they ditched the channel, and they ditched, you know, having titanium, so decent materials, I guess. And, ooh, smelly poop somewhere. Whew, gotta get away from here. So they ditched everything that everybody liked. I mean, the 6X was basically shitting all over their following. How could they do that? It's just insulting. But then, I mean, there's no question in my mind. People have been bombarding them with requests to make a decent flipper, or to bring back the 42, or just like put half an ass cheek of effort into a butterfly knife, you know? And it looks like they didn't do it. It looks like they sort of listened, and they sort of, because they got the 5.5 inch titanium channel, but they managed to fuck it up so badly. And it's just like, I really, really hope that this turns out to be a great knife, but I highly, highly doubt it. I think that this is kind of the last straw for Benchmade. I have a feeling that, I mean, this was their last chance to show us that they were capable of giving a fuck about their community and listening to us and giving us what we've been asking for, and it looks like they blew it. So, just like, if they did completely blow it like it seems, I'm not even gonna like care when they announce the next knife. It's just gonna be like fucking Baron Sons saying, "Oh, we've got a new knife coming out." Like, no one cares. You've just been insulting us with these last 3 releases. Give us, you know what? I don't even care about Benchmade anymore if this is what they're gonna do. It's insulting. I'm all about, you know, the new guys, the people who are working to bring us the flippers that we demand at a price that is respectable. And that is pretty much the end of this video. I guess I'll flip this around a tiny little bit just for gits and giblets. Woo! Whoa, my hands are cold. Yeah. Peace out.